Hello, thank you for clicking on this Fun with Pete and Sherry video. I'm your host Julian, and today I'm doing my first Scotch review. And I'm beginning at the beginning here with a very popular single malt Scotch, Glenlivet 12-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. Now, Glenlivet is the best-selling single malt Scotch in the United States. So, how impressed are you by that? Probably depends on who you are and the perspective that you have looking at this. If you're an investor, you're probably very pleased. No doubt the Glenlivet company is making quite a bit of money. But is this a good Scotch? If you've had American beer, such as the type that's advertised on the Super Bowl, particularly, you might think, oh, it's got to be swill. However, it is a fallacy that all Americans have bad taste. What Americans have is a very, very large and relatively lowest common denominator, and it becomes a bit self-perpetuating because companies like Anheuser-Busch and, dare I say, Glenlivet, make a lot of money by selling to that lowest common denominator. The products that are sold to these lowest common denominator buyers are generally not bad, but they're also generally not very interesting, because if you make your product too interesting, somebody's not going to like it, and for every person who doesn't like it, you have less chance to grab that huge, huge market share. So, let's have a taste and see what's going on here, shall we? Sorry, I always smell the bottle first. A lot of apples. Apples just jump. Somewhat sour, like a barrel of apples just beginning to sour. Same thing, more intense in the glass. A bit of a softer, more tropical taste after the sour apples, perhaps pineapple or pear juice. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and taste this now. Absolutely no reason to add water to this. Very light, very crisp, refreshing, almost, like lemonade or iced tea. Alright, well, it does indeed have a tropical flavor. The company itself mentions that they taste pineapples in their liquor. Now, I think that that's true, especially once you've heard it. It definitely tastes like pineapple. It's very hard to get that out of your mind once you've heard it, which, if it didn't taste at all like pineapple, wouldn't be the case. I taste, though, not so much a sharp, really juicy pineapple, but sort of more like a canned pineapple that's perhaps in a Del Monte fruit cup. A Del Monte fruit cup that has a couple of pieces of pineapple in it, but is mostly pear juice, a lot of peach, well, a little peach, and maybe just a half a sliver of a maraschino cherry. That is about what you're getting here. There are really not too many other tastes, and the taste doesn't really do anything in your mouth. It comes in, it's not bad, but it just kind of stays the same. It doesn't really develop into anything. Yeah, it has a very pleasant mouth feel, and fruity taste that goes on, I would say, a medium length of time, and then just sort of fades out. Not a bad Scotch. As I said, it couldn't be probably this popular if it were bad. The taste is very delicate, and this is where I kind of have a little bit of a problem with it, because personally I do not crave delicacy in my Scotch. I like things that actually have a bit more power in their tastes. That's not to say I don't like subtlety, but you can have strong flavors that have many, many shades of subtlety. And here you have sort of one light flavor. There's not nearly as much room for subtlety in a flavor this light. And another problem I have with this, and depending on how you feel about drinking Scotch in general, you might have more or less of a problem with this, but because there's no real strong flavor to balance it out, the alcohol taste actually really steps up and becomes a contributing factor in the overall taste of this whiskey. In a more flavorful whiskey, the alcohol doesn't really become a flavor in itself. It acts as a substrate for the other flavors that you're tasting. Here, if you are sensitive to the taste of alcohol, if you're not particularly used to drinking liquor neat, this, even though it's so popular, is really probably not the best place to start. So just keep that in mind. I was going to give it a lower score, but you know, I can't deny the fact that it is light and crisp and fruity and refreshing. There's nothing wrong here. There's nothing that's gone wrong. I believe that the taste here is exactly what the distillers wanted to put in the bottle. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, and perhaps that seems a little low, but you know, it is a 10-point scale. I don't see any reason to just use the top two numbers. So yeah, until next time, that'll be all. I'm going to bring out a Scotch that's perhaps a bit more interesting. Thank you.